Hello, today we're going to talk about predicting the approximate frequency using the probability. Alright, so we're just going to get straight into an example, but relative frequency is how often one event occurs out of all the trials. If you toss a cube 100 times, you get 3. 25 times, relative frequency would be 25 over 100. So let's say I have a box of mixed colors of rubber bands. So I have a box, colors, say it's green, blue, red, and purple. All right, it's a big box. I choose to pick out 20 bags out of here. So these are bags of rubber bands. I'm going to choose 20 out, and the number of times chosen of the 20, let's say I do green 8, we'll go green, green 8, blue 3, red 7, purple 2. Alright, so of my 20 times I pull out the green 8. So what is my relative frequency? So my relative frequency is the total amount of times that I do it over how many times I get it. So my green is 8 over 20, which is equal to 2 over 5. So 2/5. My blue would be 3 over 20, which doesn't simplify. My red will be 7 over 20, which doesn't simplify, and my purple is 2 over 20, which gives me 1/10. So 2/5, 3/20, 7/20, and 1/10. Those are my relative frequencies of how many times I'm going to pick it out. Now, is it my probability? No. My probability in this case of getting... Alright, so let me find the probability. Let's say there's actually 1,000 bags in here. 300 are green, so that gives me 300 over 1,000. So the probability of pulling a green bag out is actually 3/10. Probability of pulling a blue out, if there's 200, would be 1/5. The probability of pulling a red out, if there are actually 400, is 2/5. And the probability of pulling a purple out and whatever's left over, so 100 over 1,000 gives me 1/10. So that's the probability based on the numbers. This is not a uniform probability if they were all the same. So say there was 1,000 and there's 200 of each. 250 of each, you'd be good for the probability. Alright, so that's just how to find probability and relative frequency. We're going to do an example about cards. Alright, so for this first example, in every deck of cards, there's 52 cards, 13 suits in each, 4 suits, 2 to 10, numbers ace, king, queen, jack. So let's say I draw a card at random from a regular deck, record it, and replace it. I'm going to do this 182 times. How many times can I expect to pick a jack? So I'm going to pull from a card deck 182 times, then replace it. A card deck is 52 cards. And I want to know how many times should I expect to get a jack. So there's a jack of each color, there's 4 suits, so there's 4 jacks altogether. So what's my probability of actually pulling a jack in the first place? So that would be 4 over 52, the total amount times the possible. So that's 1 over 13. Now I'm going to take this percentage And I'm gonna do it 182 times with that percentage. So I multiply it by it. So I multiply it, the frequency that I'm pulling the cards and replacing it, by the probability, and I end up getting, I should expect to pull a jack 14 times based on what my probability was and the frequency at which I'm pulling cards. Alright, so if I draw a card, I draw 150 cards. 150 cards. I draw 150 times. What can I expect to get 75 of those times? So if I have 52 cards and 4 suits, the 4 suits are broken into diamonds, hearts, spades, and clubs. Looks like broccoli. And of these, I have red and black. So if I'm drawing 150 times, so 75 times over, so 1/2. So what am I going to draw 1/2 of the time here? It's not going to be any of my numbers because I have numbers 2 to 10. And I have an ace, which I have 4 times, a king, queen, and jack that I'll have 4 times. So what is it going to be that I'm going to draw 1/2 of the time? Well, either reds, so I can draw red cards or black cards 75% of the time, is what it should be. So if you're just drawing random cards, half the time you should get red, half the time you should be getting black. All right, this is our last example. So if I draw a card 120 times, all right, and these are the suits, and this is the number I pull for each one, the frequency of it. What's the relative frequency of each one of these? So this would be 45 over 120, which simplifies down to 3 over 8. Relative frequency is the number of times you pull it or the total amount of times you did it, by the way. If I didn't say that already, 1/4. That's 1/6. And that's 5 over 24. So those are all my relative frequencies for all of these, and it's just that simple to find a relative frequency. So what would be my probability of drawing each of these? So I have 4 different ones. Four different suits, and I'm drawing it 120 times. So you have a basically 1/4 chance of drawing it because you have 4 suits. You have a 1/4 probability of choosing any of the colors. So which one of those matches up with the actual probability? Well, the diamonds. The diamonds is the only one that actually matches up with the probability of drawing it 1/4 of the time. So probability and relative frequency is different. Relative frequency is more of the simulation part of it. All right, this has not been a great video, but it has been over predicting the approximate frequency using the probability. Hope it helps and good luck.